Hello and welcome to another episode of The Red Zone. I'm Alex Campbell, and what a weekend it was at North Central. Homecoming festivities capped off by fireworks both on and off the field as the Cardinals defeated Wheaton in the battle for the Little Brass Bell, retaining the trophy for the first time in 11 years. Head coach Brad Spencer will discuss his first victory as head coach in the historic rivalry. Plus, I'm also joined by junior tight end Matt Robinson and junior defensive tackle Dan Lester to break down the win and look ahead to this weekend's game against Carroll up in Waukesha, Wisconsin. But first, let's take a look at the highlights from the biggest game of the regular season. Homecoming weekend at North Central College, and what better way to celebrate than with the marquee matchup of every Cardinals football season, the battle for the Little Brass Bell against the Wheaton College Thunder, as the Cardinals look to retain the trophy for the first time since 2011 after reclaiming it last year for the first time in 5 years. Both offenses got off to a slow start, but that changed for North Central in large part due to junior wide receiver D'Angelo Hardy, who quarterback Luke Lanin finds wide open over the middle for a big gain. That sets up Ethan Greenfield to power his way into the end zone on the next play. 7-0 Cardinals on his 8th rushing touchdown of the season. The Cardinals defense did more than just hold the Thunder to a 3-and-out on the next drive. Sophomore safety Zach Orr picks off a floated pass by Will Bowers to give the offense a chance for a quick 1-2 punch. And they delivered with the throw of the day by Lanin, finding Hardy for 6 despite excellent coverage by the Wheaton defense. Neither tight man coverage nor safety help over the top could do anything about this dime of a delivery from Lanin. A difficult first half for Bowers and the Wheaton offense got no better when he was picked off again, this time by sophomore linebacker Angelo Cusimano. The Cardinals defense making a statement, shutting down the Thunder's formidable passing attack. Later on the ensuing drive, another good run by Greenfield gets the Cardinals once again into scoring position, but a defensive stand by the Thunder results in them settling for a field goal by Tanner Raines to make it 17-0. On their next drive, the Cardinals fake a 4th down attempt with a punt by Lanin, and it bounces off an unsuspecting Wheaton player, and the Cardinals recover inside the 15-yard line. With 18 seconds left and no timeouts, this yielded an absolutely insane sequence. Lanin completes a pass to Jacob Parody, but the sophomore wide receiver is unable to get out of bounds. The field goal unit comes rushing onto the field as the offense goes sprinting off, and just after lineman Sam Pryor dives onto the sideline, and just before time expires, the Cardinals get the snap off, and Raines banks in the kick off the upright. Total chaos to end the first half, but at 20-0, the Cardinals looked firmly in control. But the Thunder came out rumbling in the second half. 2 touchdowns from senior running back Giovanni Weeks, first on a pass from Bowers and then on a handoff, combined with stout defense throughout the third quarter, cut the Cardinals' lead to 6. But once again, it's Hardy who jumpstarts the Cardinals' offense, here on a crafty option handoff to move the chains on 3rd down and move North Central into Wheaton territory. 199 total yards of offense on the night for Hardy. A few plays later, Lanin swings a pass out to Greenfield, who goes flying over the pylon into the end zone to restore the Cardinals' 2-score advantage. But it wouldn't last long, as the Thunder marched down the field again and were back within a score thanks to a Bowers touchdown pass to Ben Bonga. Of course, when North Central need a closer, they turn to Greenfield. First, a massive run, breaking tackles and dragging defenders with him all the way inside the 10-yard line, and then capping the night off with a rushing touchdown, much like he did in the Cardinals' victory last year. North Central retains the Brass Bell for the first time in over a decade, moving to 4-0 on the season and likely securing the CCIW championship for a second consecutive season as well. Plenty of fans, family, friends, and alumni to celebrate with for the Cardinals, who take down Wheaton 33-20. Another week and another box checked for North Central head football coach Brad Spencer, as he has his first victory over the Wheaton College Thunder. But of course, there are 6 more games to navigate between now and the postseason with Wheaton in the rearview. Brad, congratulations and welcome to the show.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it.
So leading up to such a big game, before you guys ran out onto the field on Saturday night, what was your kind of parting message to the players about this game?
Yeah, well, the message was to make sure we're taking care of the football, we're tackling, win time of possession, and then win the battle up front. And our guys did a great job of that. We checked most of those boxes, and although we didn't get points on those first couple of drives, our offensive line did a nice job of establishing the line of scrimmage, and our defense came up with some big stops so that we were able to go into half 20-0.
But then, of course, before we get to all the action on the field, on the opening play of the game, you see an opponent get potentially severely injured. So you've got this huge buildup of energy pregame, and then you have this very somber, kind of scary moment right off the bat. What's the message to the guys in the huddle during that long stoppage, and how do you try to keep them focused on what they have to do once play resumes?
Right, yeah, it's staying focused on what the next play is going to be, going through your assignment, kind of refocusing your energy, taking some deep breaths. You know, it's like you would do any time with anything that's happening on the football field. Certainly you never want to see that. You never want to see a player from either side get injured to that level. Thankfully, he's okay. But it's really just controlling the controllables, make sure your mind and your feet are where you're at right then.
So as we get into the game, a bit of a slow start for both offenses, which makes it natural to start on defense. It seemed like the defensive backs for you guys had a pretty good beat on where Will Bowers wanted to go with the football, and that gets reflected with Zach Orr and then Angelo Cusimano both getting interceptions in the first half of this game. Had there been something you guys had seen on film that made you guys kind of confident on how you could try to shut down the passing attack early?
Yeah, Coach Durking, our entire defensive staff did a great job putting together a game plan, mixing up what we were doing up front and with coverages, and both those guys came up with big plays. Turnovers and big games are always a big factor, and we knew that going in, and so to be able to win the turnover battle, I think went a long way in helping us win that football game. But those were 2 big plays. Certainly momentum's a huge part of that game as well, and that was able to help us grab a little momentum and maybe give the offense a little bit of steam too.
Speaking of the offense and giving it steam, the guy who was responsible for a lot of that on Saturday night was D'Angelo Hardy. My broadcast partner Grant Sabo and I were baffled at how open he was seemingly constantly in this game. Obviously, you want to get the ball in D'Lo's hands a lot in general. Was there any particular focus on doing that on Saturday, or did you think that was going to be a particular thing you were able to exploit in the offensive game plan?
I think anytime you're going into a big game, you want to get your best players the football, and him and Ethan really stepped up and played really well, along with our offensive line. And you know, Matt, who's here today, did a great job in the run game. And you know, we just wanted to get D'Lo into space and try and get the ball into his hands and let him make plays, and he certainly did. It seemed like every time that we drew something up for him, the ball landed in his hands, and he made a big play. And it's great to see. It's what we expected of him coming into this year, and we've seen it in other games. Certainly saw it in Wabash, and it was great to see on the biggest stage.
You mentioned Ethan Greenfield. Speaking of a player for the biggest stages, a lot of weeks you look at the rushers list, the guys who get running yards for your offense, and it's 5, 6, 7 guys deep. But if you look at the box scores of, I think, basically the last 3 Wheaton games, it's Ethan, and more Ethan. Runs for almost 200 yards in this one. What does it say about him as a player that he's always seemingly able to step up in these big moments? And how helpful is it to be able to rely on his ability to carry the weight he's given, whether it's against Wheaton or in the playoffs?
Right. I mean, in the biggest games, you want your guys to step up and play and play their best, and Ethan certainly has done that. Now, having a room as deep as we do with the running backs, it helps, because the rest of the season you can try and use other guys, give him some breathers when he needs it, but he was ready to go. It's almost like the first 3 weeks he was kind of gearing up, getting ready. You could see on film each week him getting a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable, and part of that too is he's a 5th year. He's taken a lot of carries. He's played a lot of football. So early in the year, in camp, in summer and spring, we really wanted to try and preserve him a little bit, rest him a little bit, so that as we go through this season, he can be getting better and better, and he certainly stepped up and played really well on Saturday.
So it's 20-0 at the break, and then out of halftime, Wheaton get 2 touchdowns on, I think, their 2 first drives of the second half. It's a 6-point game. What's being said on the sideline in those moments? What's your message to the guys that not only helps the offense find its spark again, but has the defense kind of then re-engage as well?
Right. I mean, the message doesn't change a whole lot. It's control what you can control. We felt like the places that we weren't executing on offense, it was things that we were doing to ourselves, self-inflicted wounds. And on defense, it's just stay the course. Make long drives, don't give them big plays. Make them have to feel rushed. At that point with a solid lead, you just want to make sure you're not turning the ball over, you're not giving them explosive plays and letting them put points on the board really quick. And our defense did that, kind of withheld the storm. And then offense, we figured a few things out there in the fourth quarter, and we're able to get the ball into our ball players' hands and make some plays when we need to.
As we do every week here on the Red Zone, it is time to check the tape with Coach Spencer. And a game, that had a lot of fireworks in it, fireworks afterwards. We're going to start with the passing touchdown from Luke Lane into D'Angelo Hardy.
Yep.
And in my 2 years watching this team up close, I said this on the broadcast, I think this might be the best throw I've ever seen Luke make.
Yeah, Luke was on. D'Lo did a great job on this route, and Luke put it right where we needed to. They actually ended up spinning a coverage different than what we had expected, and Luke saw it, adjusted, and put the ball where D'Lo could go get it, and D'Angelo did what he does, and made a great play.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, man coverage, safety
Yep.
over the top. They really could not have covered him any better, and the play gets made anyway.
Right. Yeah, there was a small window, and fortunately, we came up with the big play, and Luke recognized it and did a great job putting it right where D'Lo could get it.
So the next play is one we've mentioned already on the show today. It's Angelo Cusimano's interception. And on the second view here, I'm going to have him zoomed in. And can you take me through his movement here and what do you think he's reading in order to be able to make this play?
Yeah, he did a great job adjusting. They're trying to run a little naked or bootleg and get the ball to the over route. And he did a great job adjusting, not getting faked out on the play pass. It was great. It was really great to see him make that play. He's been in position over the last, the previous 3 games to make some big plays, and a couple of them he just missed. So to see him make a play in the biggest game so far this year, and in a moment where they're driving in to score, it was great to see him do that.
And then finally for Check the Tape this week, if you could just walk me through the last 18 seconds of the first half, because this was insane.
Yeah, well, even how we got there first with our punt going out, happening, going off their player and us getting it. We felt like we were going to have enough time to get this field goal off. Our field goal team was ready. Everybody was out of the way before we ever threw that pass. We were worried that if we tried to spike it, our O-linemen and the receivers being on the other side of the field might not get there. We knew if we were around 10, 11 seconds, we had enough time to get our field goal team on. It's something you practice every single week, so as a staff, you have a pretty good idea how long it takes and how much time Tanner needs to feel comfortable kicking the ball. And got a little bit of a break with the going off the upright, but we'll take it. You need that once in a while in big games.
And it's not play of the week quite, because I couldn't include it as such because I didn't quite have the camera angles I wanted. A bit of a spoiler there. But Sam Pryor diving out of bounds there, I think that might be the biggest play of the night.
Yeah, our film caught that. Sammy was taking a little bit of time to get off the field there. But he went all out, he did it, got off. We snapped it with just under a second, and Tanner did a great job of sneaking that one in.
So you do end up sealing the win, 33-20. So I want to talk about the post game and everything that happens after the final whistle. First, when you see Dan Gilroy go over and lift the brass bell trophy above his head, you see Matt Robinson sprinting half the length of the field to go celebrate with alumni and fans and students. What's going through your head as you watch those celebrations begin to unfold?
Well, I think you missed most of it because you're shaking hands and then you're congratulating your staff, congratulating your players, and hugging them. But you certainly try and stop and take it all in, especially it being my first game as the head coach. But really it's a blur. You just want to hug your guys, congratulate them, tell them how proud you are of them, and how proud you are of the seniors and the younger guys getting this done for the seniors. But it certainly was a pretty neat scene, especially with it being homecoming, a night game. I thought the whole, community of North Central College did a really great job of making that a fun night.
And then finally, last week on the show, Nick Rummel mentions that part of the motivation for this game was they wanted to win it for you. I heard similar things after the game on Saturday. The moment where I think it's Matt, you're all gathered around, he hands you that trophy, and you're raising it above your head with all the players chanting around you. What's that moment like?
Yeah, I was actually just describing that to my wife earlier today, and it was really special. I mean, that's something I'm never going to forget. Certainly, I believe that our players are the ones who won the game. They're the ones who deserve to be chanting and holding that trophy. But I certainly appreciate that they would say that and they want to get that done for me. But it's about our players, it's about our seniors, it's about our staff, and they all did such a wonderful job. I just, as a head coach, don't want to get in the way and ruin it. We've got a lot of capable people in our program, and let them do their thing, and great results happen.
Well, I think it's fair to say there's plenty of credit, plenty of congratulations to go around for such an important win, for such a big win. 6 more games to go in the regular season, so plenty more still to go, but I think this is a game that everybody around North Central football and North Central College in general can certainly relish. So head coach Brad Spencer, congratulations again, and thanks as always for coming on the show.
Appreciate it.
Opportunity is everywhere. It is in everything and within everyone. Your opportunity is at the center of all that we do, so that you can exceed your personal best.
Under the lights and in a big game, there was no shortage of pressure on the Cardinals Saturday night, but they stepped up and met the moment. That was certainly true of both Matt Robinson and Dan Lester, who join me now. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So Matt, I'm going to start with you, and I'm actually going to start at the end of the game. You're one of the first guys to get your hands on the Brass Bell Trophy after the game, and you go just sprinting like 50, 60 yards down to the north end zone where there's a huge mob and celebration. What's going through your head as you're making that sprint and leading the celebration there?
Well, last year, I didn't have the chance to experience that moment and that feeling of, beating Wheaton, especially with those fifth-year guys last year, Ben Wong, Storm, Kaminsky. So this year was really important to me, to really soak that all in and be in the moment. And I even told Terrence and Gilroy, because I live with them, I said, hey, tomorrow after we win, just know I'm going to grab that bell. And to be able to actually hold it and take that all in and then run over to those guys who did play last year and experience that with them too, it was a really special moment.
And then you're the guy, I think, who also ends up handing it to Brad Spencer when you're all in that big huddle at the end of the game. What is, for you guys as players, what does that mean to get that win for him in his first game in this rivalry as the head coach?
That's huge. This being his first year and then coming in and be able to beat Wheaton as a first-time head coach, but then also 2 years in a row is huge. And so, Coach Spencer stepping up and filling that role as the head coach and him doing it as well as he has been is really special to see.
So, Dan, during the broadcast, my broadcast partner, Grant Sabo, I believe, said that you had a great month within this one game, which made me think, I think you've had a great last month in general, had a really good start to the season. Anything different this year for you? Anything clicking in a way it hasn't before? Or are the stats just finally reflecting the work you've been putting in for years at this point?
I would honestly say it's credit to everybody, so all 11 of us. Everybody does their job, and some plays just fall right into my lap. So I would also credit our assistant defensive line coach, Coach Logan. He played here a couple of years ago as our GA when I was a freshman. Kind of took me under his wing and showed me the ropes, and we worked out together. Throughout the season, we'll go through stuff and whatnot, and he kind of helped me slow down football. So let me go through step by step of what I need to do, what I'm going to see, and Coach Janicek being the phenomenal D-line coach he is, that helps too. So, yeah.
Matt, you haven't had the chance to be out there the last couple of weeks before this. How important was it for you to be healthy and be able to be out there for this game, particularly given that you weren't able to play last year?
Just being healthy for this game meant a lot. The guys did a great job of just keeping me in high spirit. Not playing, the first 2 conference games of the year is tough, especially, missing games last year. But the best thing I can do is just be a supportive leader, help coach up my tight end room the best I can, those guys stepping in to take my spot. So getting healthy for this game, like I said, was just really important. I know that with me being out there on the field, I could assist to help the team win in any way I could.
So during this game, you guys are up 20-0 at halftime. What's the mood then in the locker room? How does that change by the end of the third when it's a 1-score game? And what are you guys saying to each other at that moment? What's being said to you guys by the coaches that then sees you guys go on and close the door, get the win in the end after things were looking a little bit nervy there for a few minutes?
Every time I get in situations like that, I always think back to Ethan Greenfield. And I think it's because every game, I don't care if we're up 50-0 or if it's a 7-7 ball game, he always says never too high, never too low. You want to stay at a level where you're still comfortable and you're still locked in and focused. So when we were up 20-0, I feel like that's what it was. Never too high, never too low. We know what we have to do. We're going to come in the second half, look at it 0-0, and that we got to just finish strong. So,
I mean, defensively, we went into halftime and we all kind of knew that the job wasn't even close to being finished. We knew that Wheaton was coming in and ready to fight. We knew that up front it was going to be a dogfight. Well, we knew that they were going to come in and try to run the football. They were going to try to do everything that Wheaton's normally going to do. But everybody from our side of the football came over to the bleachers and they said, it's 0-0. There's still a lot of football to be played. The job is nowhere near done. Let's just stay locked in and let's keep going. We did our best, in the first half, and we showed out for the most part, and we came out and won the football game. But at halftime, we all kind of sat back and were like, let's finish it. It's almost done, but it's not done yet.
So kind of a perfect storm of events with this weekend. It's a night game. It's homecoming. You guys get the win. So after the game, you've got family, you've got friends, you've got this huge just group of people on the field. There's fireworks. What are those moments like for you guys, knowing you've gotten the win and just able to take in everything around you at that point?
Just doing the best to stay present, soaking it all in, Football doesn't last forever, especially moments like that. So I just want to do my best to, be present in that moment, soak it all in with my guys and my family, and enjoy it the best I can.
It was an emotional weekend, to say the least. It was cool to see it finally come full circle for the whole unit. It was cool to see, all the hard work that every single person puts in, and it all came together, and we won the bell. That was pretty cool. The fireworks were awesome. I mean, they caught me off guard, but they were pretty cool.
I wasn't expecting
Yeah, I wasn't expecting those at all, but that was really cool. And I mean, just a little side story of me and Matt, we took a photo after Wheaton in 2018, and it was his position switch and me, not being a pudgy freshman anymore is pretty cool. But we took that photo with my mom, and we took a photo again after the game, and just to see everything come together and both of us be playing where we're playing now is pretty cool.
Special.
It was a very, very special moment for the both of us.
So as always, guys, here on the Red Zone, we're going to finish up with a few non-football things, a few lighter things. The first one, this is a pretty easy one. You guys have a favorite vacation spot. If you can't think of one off the top of your head, where would you most like to go if you had the chance? One or the other.
Ooh, most like to go, take me to Bora Bora. I don't know if you've seen pictures. The water looks beautiful. I'm not a huge fan of big places of water if I can't see under what's under me. I know if I went to Bora Bora, though, I can see straight through that water. I'd be comfortable being out there.
Me personally, I have a favorite. I have a lake house in Michigan, Silver Lake, Michigan, and Hart, Michigan. It's a beautiful place. My family goes there once a year, so it's pretty cool. I love that place. I grew up there, so by far my favorite vacation spot.
This is a time of year where it's kind of the end of the lake house season, so it now being officially fall, do you guys have anything that you enjoy the most about the season, about this time of year?
Probably Sundays. Throwing a hoodie, throwing some sweats after meetings, film, lifts are all done, go back, watch some Sunday night football, and just knowing that next Monday you got off, Monday night football, so it's just nice. Get that fall vibe, you're inside, cozy. It's nice, relaxing.
I'm a very big fan of the fall. The temperature being where it's at, being able to wear sweatshirts and not sweat, not be humid anymore. That's pretty cool. It's big boy fall is what I like to call it. Bust out the flannels, the Timberland boots, those stuff. So it's pretty cool. I like to wear beanies and stuff. So the weather's pretty nice, yeah.
And then last, gonna do a bit of self-deprecation here. I tore a tendon in my pinky playing kickball, which is the lamest possible injury I think I could ever sustain. So, with that in mind, have you guys ever had a silly, dumb, stupid injury in either in your playing careers, growing up, anything?
Playing career, no, but growing up, I was like 4 or 5 years old. And I don't know, I guess my dad was more than confident enough to me walking down the stairs by myself, and I took a couple steps and there I went, and that's kind of how I busted my head and got this war wound from it, so that's probably my goofiest little injury story.
My mom would not get me a rib stick for like the longest time, and I was begging for it, and eventually my mom was like, if you want it, save up and get it. So I went to the toy store and I bought a rib stick, whatever it was called, in like middle school, and I'm going, and like I tried to like go down a hill, and I didn't know that you had to like keep your feet moving. I thought the momentum would just take you, so I slipped, fell, and I broke my wrist. But I ended up breaking that cast that I had on it like 4 or 5 times. So I had a pink one, a red one, a green one, and a blue one. And like, you know, eventually I was like, all right, that's it. He's like, no more scootering, no more of that stuff. So that was my stupid injury.
Wait, what were you doing that resulted in 3 or 4 different casts being needed?
I mean,
there's more to this story.
Yeah. I had a trampoline in my backyard, and my mom wouldn't let me use the trampoline when I had the cast on, so I'd wait for her to go to work. And then when I got home from school, I would go on the trampoline. I was like just trying to do this new flip thing, and broke the cast. And then I played tackle football with my brother, broke the cast again.
Wasn't very athletic as a kid.
Yeah, then I was in class, and I put a pencil in it, and I tried to get the pencil out, and then I broke it again. So it was just, you know, my mom went through the ringer with that one for sure.
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to learn as much from this experience as I think you guys did from those, but again, it's everybody's got a little something. There, we're not always at our most athletic, I guess, shall we say?
Oh no, sir.
Well, Matt Robinson, Dan Lester, thanks so much for taking the time. Congrats on the win, and thanks for coming on the Red Zone.
Thank you
for having us.
It's time for this week's Red Zone play of the game. This play may not be a score or turnover or feature someone hurdling an opponent, but it was still an incredibly significant one, particularly for Ethan Greenfield, who on this play became the College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin's all-time rushing leader. In addition to his own immense effort on this play, he was helped out by Alex Naprick as a pulling guard to seal the edge, and a great block by Matt Robinson to help clear a lane, with Robinson helping out again to push Greenfield inside the Wheaton 10-yard line, setting up the Cardinals to score a game-sealing touchdown, of course, by Greenfield. And that's this week's Red Zone play of the game. That's all for this week's edition of the Red Zone. Thanks as always to head coach Brad Spencer, as well as to Matt Robinson and Dan Lester for coming on the show. The Cardinals are back on the road this week. They take on the Carroll University Pioneers at Schneider Stadium in Waukesha, Wisconsin, Saturday at 1 p.m. After the game, keep an eye out for highlights on both nctv17.org and the North Central YouTube channel. The next home game is the following Saturday, October 15th, when the Cardinals take on Millikin. We'll get you all set for that game next week on the Red Zone and hopefully have a 5th win of the season to break down. Until then, I'm Alex Campbell. Thanks for watching.